Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another T-REV recipe. Today I'm going to show you how I smoke my beef jerky. It's a really good treat to take with you to work. It's something that, my family enjoys. They like helping me make it. Everybody likes beef jerky. This is a way cheaper way than buying it at the store. You can make it however you want it. And if you have a smoker, it's really easy to make some really good beef jerky. So the first place that you need to start is by getting the most lean cut of beef that you can find. It's okay if there's a little bit of fat on it. It's gonna be pretty hard for you to find a cut of beef or some sort of a roast that doesn't have any fat. But try to find something like a rump or a sirloin. I think rump's probably the best. They don't have very much marbling in them. They usually just have a fat cap on them, but try to find the leanest cut possible. And then when you start cutting it, the best thing for you to do is to make sure that you're cutting it against the grain. So as you can see here, while I'm cutting it, you'll see me stop and look at it several times and make sure I'm still cutting it the right direction. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell which direction that the grain's going. But if you cut with it, with the grain, it's gonna make it a little bit harder to chew. If you cut against the grain, it's going to be more tender. I think that they cook better that way. But another thing that you can do to make the slicing a lot easier is don't let it thaw completely before you start cutting it. You'll see that I trim off little pieces here and there, and those are the outer pieces that have thawed, like that piece right there by where my hand is right now. That's thawed out, and it makes it a lot harder to cut nice, clean, consistent cuts. The more uniform and symmetrical all of the cuts are, the more consistent it's going to smoke and the better the jerky's going to be. Without a meat slicer, it's really hard to get them perfect, but having a really sharp knife and having a roast that's close to frozen, even if it is frozen, if your knife's sharp enough to cut through it, the colder and more frozen, the better. Now, if you don't want to waste any pieces, you can toss them back in the freezer for a few minutes to firm it up, but that'll make it a lot easier for you, is having a sharp knife and having your roast be close to frozen, and make sure that you're cutting the roast against the grain. When you come across larger pieces of fat, trim them off. Fat's delicious, fat's good, but it's not on jerky. It's okay. You're never going to get it all, but try to get the majority of it off of the jerky. Now, this is the only part of making jerky that's not very fun, is cutting all this up, but it's worth it. Take your time, practice with your knife, make sure you're getting them as consistent as possible. It doesn't have to be thick, it doesn't have to be thin, but make sure that they're consistent. That's going to be the most important thing. Otherwise, when you're smoking it, some are going to be done way before the others, and they're going to dry out and get crispy, and others are going to be almost raw. You don't want that. You want them to all come out pretty close to even. So I'm going to speed this up here. We'll cut through this, and we'll get back at you when it's time to season. Okay, we're going to start with our sweet and spicy rub in bag number 1. One thing that I really like about doing this is that my kids really enjoy helping me do this. I like to let them get their own little seasonings. I'll lay them all out for them. Like, I'll put all my spicy seasonings in one area, all my sweet in another area, and etc. And then I'll say, okay, grab your bags and come pick your seasonings. And they really get a kick out of making their own. They're pretty satisfied when they get to season it themselves and then get to taste it. They dig it a lot. So maybe if you have kids, maybe try that with them. Write their name on the bag and let them pick out their seasonings. My kids love doing that with me. They're not here right now, otherwise I'd... Move on to the second. For this one, this is gonna be a little more simple. I love that whiskey bent coffee rub. And I did this smoky mountain rub in my chicken wing video, and I really liked the flavor that it left. So if two good things smashed together make a great thing, we'll try that. Two to go. For this, we're going to do garlic powder, onion powder, Montreal steak. This is another one that's just so good. I use this. This is probably like one of the best selling seasonings in history. I bet everybody has this in their cabinet, but it's for a good reason. More garlic salt, and then this black pepper sauce. This is really good too. I'm doing 2 wet and 2 dry marinade seasonings, whatever. Oh yeah, that smells amazing. Holy cow, that one smells so good. I can't wait to try that one. Last but not least, this is my most proven, most tested, teriyaki style. So I got pineapple. I'm just gonna dump some juice out of that can into the bag. I've got a teriyaki sauce that I'm just a big fan of. I like this. I put this on fish and chicken quite often. Soy sauce, and then kosher salt. I don't do a lot of the salt just because the soy sauce is already pretty salty, but I am gonna put a little bit of kosher salt in there just to help dry it out a little bit. I'm gonna repeat myself. Don't need a lot of liquid when you're doing jerky. Probably just doing, I don't know, 2-3 ounces, if not even. Just a few ounces, just a little bit. See it there? Oh, it smells good. A little more. I don't know if you like sticky jerky or not, but this is gonna be the sticky stuff. Everything that these guys make is delicious. These guys are the best. Oh my goodness. I almost forgot the main ingredient to this. Oh man, that could have been bad. Brown sugar. I gotta put brown sugar in this. Oh no, this is old. It's all right. The soy sauce and the pineapple will take care of it. Add a lot of this stuff. This is going to be an unhealthy bag of jerky because it's going to be loaded with sugar, but I don't care. I might even need more. Yeah, I'm going to for sure. I'm not really stoked on having that old brown sugar in there, but I mean, the clumps are already dissolved in that pineapple juice. Just because of that, I'm gonna switch up here. I'm calling audible because I don't want to use more of this, but I need more. Throw that away. I'm going to pull out a good old second string to brown sugar. I'm gonna throw some honey in there. Honey's gonna save the day with this. This is gonna be the stickiest meat candy ever, but whatever. Add a shitload of it. All is well. Oh man, when I zipped that bag shut and squeezed the air out, oh, it smelled so good. That pineapple juice is just so good. You know how people spritz meat down in their smoker with like apple cider vinegar and apple juice? I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Ditch the apple juice and switch to pineapple juice. You'll thank me. Try it. Half apple cider vinegar, half pineapple juice. Try it. I'm making the best out of the little space that I have here. These 3 racks, I was able to fit every single piece on. This is an important part of the jerky process. Lay them all out flat, let them dry out. Go for a few hours. All these ones especially that I did the wet marinade on, they need to hang out for a little while. Let them sit, let them dry, and in a few hours we'll go throw them on the smoker. Okay, all 3 are on the rack. I have my temperature at 175. I've done the low smoke 160. I don't really know if there's a difference, but it didn't seem like it was putting out the smoky flavor I was looking for. I had better luck at high smoke 220, but cooked it a little faster than I'd like. You gotta get a little creative. If you have the jerky racks, use them. I do this. You know, it works. What you need to do is flip-flop and rotate these back and forth because they're gonna drip on one another. So make sure that you move them. Gonna let this go for a couple hours, real low and slow. Come out here and check on them and we'll see where we're at. Okay, I'm gonna show you a little trick here, or a little tip more than a trick. Your smokers are not the same temperature from one side to the next. It's hotter close to the exhaust. So, or the vent, I guess. I'm gonna move these around and shuffle them and spin the racks around to help them cook evenly, because already, it's only been 45 minutes. Already, these ones over here are cooked way more than these ones up here. So, I'm gonna flip these around. You guys should note this when you're smoking things, big briskets and stuff. Put the points closer to the exhaust or the vent side. Everything has been slid from one side to the next and rotated 180 degrees. Coming back out to check on them after their rotation. Just checking them out, feeling them. Some of them pretty squishy still. Some of the ones that are a little thinner feel a little more done. I think I like mine to be more tender, more moist, more soft. I think I'm gonna pull them. I think they're ready. Just a little squishy, but it's okay. They'll dry out a little bit more when I just let them rest and cool, so I'm just gonna shut down the smoker and I'm gonna leave them in here for a while. Everything's cooled down. Pulled it off the smoker and brought it inside. Gonna let it rest here for a little longer. I want it to be, you know, completely room temperature before I throw it in little baggies. It's so good. This teriyaki one is so good. The spicy one, not too spicy, but it's got a kick. The coffee one, it turned out better than I expected. And then the good old classic, you know, garlic, onion, garlic salt, soy sauce. It's great. Black pepper sauce, I mean, not soy sauce. They're all good. You guys try this. It's cheap, it's easy. You can bag these up, make, you know, a dozen little tiny bags and take it with you to work and have a nice little snack that you made yourself. Give it a shot. Do me a favor. Like this video and subscribe to it, please. Appreciate it.